Previously on the Sunless Citadel.
This sort of friend who never, makes you do anything that's mean or things you don't want to do.
All in fun, all is nice. There's nothing that we do not want to do together. As Thorn goes to their spot near Mortis that is sound asleep, they do feel a presence, and the voice of their father creeps in saying, "You did good, son. Now, just make sure that you are happy and that you can make more friends so you're not alone. You and Marquis can have many friends if you try."
Methuselah, if I told you this, would you keep it from the others? I don't know if I'm ready for them to know this yet.
Oh, sure. I'm great at keeping secrets.
Faith is my younger sister.
Mortis and Seeker make their way all the way to the door, and as they are about to place their hands to open the door, something is there. A storm takes place all around you. A storm of rustling wings and furry, small creatures.
Throughout the vastness of the multiverse, there lies a tavern. As you approach its doors, you catch bubbles of laughter that rise and burst into cheers as colorful groups of travelers find comfort in their bonds. As you head inside, the smile of the tavern keeper greets you. They're an otherworldly being with a bluish, corporeal form. They wear attire befitting of an innkeeper, and they have a large, cloudy nebula for hair, speckled with stars, which gently sways with their movement.
Welcome to the Storyteller's Tavern, where stories are served like ale and a seat is open for you at every table. Tonight's special is the Sunless Citadel, an epic adventure of high fantasy with notes of friendship, danger, and most importantly, hope. Will our adventure survive the descent into the dungeon? Or is there a darker calamity taking root far from the sun's reach?
Flying rats.
We literally went from rats to bats.
Seeker,
Dirty 20.
Methuselah,
18.
Thorn,
12.
and Mortis.
I also got 12, but I have a -1 dexterity, so you definitely go first.
Alright then, top of the round. Seeker,
Seeker is going to just grab a dagger from their belt and just kind of try and stab at one of them, see if that works.
roll for the attack.
15 to hit.
Any damage?
5.
You quickly grab your dagger and you do a very fast stab into the air, and it does make impact with one of the flying creatures. You can't see it for sure how well it hit or how much damage it caused because of the quantity and how fast they are flying. But it does feel like it wasn't as good as you wished it was.
Fair.
Next is Methuselah. Go for it.
I am going to cast Vicious Mockery on the boys. So basically, Methuselah plays on Yorick an upbeat, comical tune, and the sort of strings on the side of the instrument sort of glow purple, and it creates these kind of like wavelengths in the air, and it sort of like hurls towards these creatures in like kind of a mockingly tone, very like upbeat, kind of making fun of their little stupid little wings.
Awesome. All right. And what is the saving throw?
Wisdom.
I believe a 5 fails.
4 damage.
It affects the small creatures flying about as all of them screeches in unison.
And disadvantage on the next attack roll.
All right, Mortis.
Mortis is gonna kind of take a step back to ready himself, and then as his bonus action, he's going to unsheath his greatsword, sort of hold it over his head. More flying vermin! And he's going to like slash at the swarm that hasn't been attacked yet. As a 10 to hit.
Unfortunately, your swing is very far from the mark as it seems like in the middle of the swarm, nothing makes contact. They just flew off the path.
He's just gonna kind of hold his sword at the ready and prepare himself. I'm just gonna end my turn there.
Thorn, your turn.
Thorn wants to shoot an acid arrow at the swarm that Mortis has tried to attack.
Go for it.
That's 24 to hit.
That is a hit. Roll the damage.
So that will be 6 acid damage.
You loosen the arrow with the acid vial tip, and it smashes against something that was flying in the air, and you just feel the impact of the thing screeching on the ground as the sizzling consumes it.
That's all I can do for my turn.
All right, and with that is one of the two swarms. It will approach Seeker and occupy the same space, swarming Seeker. And with that, it does its attack. But this is in disadvantage due to the vicious mockery. As it swarms over and around you, you start feeling these small prickles all around you as small bites and scratches completely takes over your exposed parts of your body, causing you a total of 3 piercing damage. Now it is the other swarm. They also approaches, but they approaches instead Mortis. They do their attack as they swarm all around you. But the tough skin and the shell proves to be much more efficient against their small teeth. And with that, it is the next turn. Seeker, your turn again.
So Seeker this time is gonna go for their rapier, which is also at their belt, and just like kind of do the same thing, just slash at them.
Roll for the attack.
23, and it will be 11 piercing damage.
You do a wide swing, and you do feel connecting against the blade of your rapier a few flying creatures, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it was as much damage as you wished it was. Methuselah, now it is your turn.
Okay, so for Methuselah's turn, they play a song befitting of a Fey queen, light and whimsical, echoing with the sweet laughter of children at a carnival, as color creates a faint red glow around the swarms as I cast Fairy Fire. So they need to make a dex save.
You're encompassing both bats, right?
Yes.
That means that both Mortis and Seeker also needs to do dexterity saving throws.
Fine by me.
Well, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually use Sorrowful Fate
Oh.
to make it into a charisma saving throw.
Oh, I'm good at those.
I mean, if you fail, it will be a funny RP moment.
Please tell me a 14 passes.
Just passes.
No,
It was a 14.
I failed.
failed.
I got a 9.
One bat passes, and the other one doesn't.
Anyone who fails, you take 5 psychic damage, and you are filled with regret for 1 minute.
I'm already filled with regret. Oh.
Funny enough, the bats that failed is exactly the one swarming Mortis is as well. So it's actually very fitting. As the incantation takes place, you guys start to perspire this very glowing red liquid from the surfaces of your skin and pores, almost as if you guys were melting with this glowing liquid that emanates.
And then anyone who failed also has advantage to hit you
That is a thing.
because of the fairy fire.
Oh, okay.
So
It's okay. As long as it doesn't mess with my checks, I'm fine.
you're fine. And then Methuselah's just kind of gonna look at Mortis being affected by their spell and be like, ooh, and just start to like play a little bit of a nicer song, shifting the music away as the strings kind of turn this rainbowy color, and you get bardic inspiration.
Yay.
I feel a little bad for like affecting you with
For
the
giving me
spell.
trauma.
You're filled with regrets.
All right, and with that, as if it was in queue, Mortis. What does your melting self do?
I feel like as Mortis is hit by this attack, he has a moment where like he staggers from the damage, and then like he sort of like looks down and he's like very sorrowful, and he starts kind of muttering under his breath. He's like, I should have done more, I should have done more. And then like as if to like come back to himself, he clutches the emblem of she and like closes his eyes for a split second. With determination, he lashes out again against the swarm that he attacked before.
All right, roll for your attack.
Was that the fairy fire one, or
That is,
Okay,
therefore,
sweet.
do with advantage.
24 to hit?
With that, the hit lands. Please roll the damage.
That is 11 damage.
With determination and inspiration from both the music of your colleague and the light and guidance of she, you bring your blade to the side in a ready position. And as if you were drawing the blade from its sheath, you do a spinning maneuver that collects all the swarm of bats surrounding you. In one slick movement, you finish the enemies as it rains bats around you.
I love how Mortis basically did like a fighting game move. He was like, you put in all the inputs so that he just starts spinning.
You put in the right move combos. Anything else you would like to do, Mortis?
As he finishes the attack, he takes a moment to just catch his breath. Goddess, give me strength. And yeah, that'll be the end of my turn.
Awesome. Now it's Thorn's turn.
Thorn casts a spell where this green light kind of starts to glow, and these flowers appear that kind of have like a shape almost like bells, and they have like this red and purple checkered pattern on them, and they shake in the wind and sound like wind chimes as he casts Toll the Dead on the remaining swarm of bats. And they have to make a wisdom save.
The flowery bells rings and echoes, but only to Thorn and the intended target, as good majority of the bats that are swarming Seeker falls dead on the ground.
Thorn like dances around, like he seems very pleased with himself, and he enjoys the chimes of the bells. And that's the end of his turn.
Now it is the turn of the bats, and immediately after the attack of Thorn, whatever bats are left, just a handful compared to the initial number of the swarm, completely disperses and disappears in the cracks and debris of the ruins of the Sunless Citadel. Combat ended.
But the regret lingers.
Methuselah's gonna kind of go up to Mortis and be like, "Oh, are you all right, friend? I didn't intend this spell to sort of affect you. I hope you're all right."
Yes, of course. I'm quite all right. It was my fault. I was in the way. My apologies. I shouldn't have been there. I'm not sure why I was there. I must have got caught up in the moment. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. You don't have to apologize. It was my fault completely.
Can I say that I would love to imagine this scene with Mortis saying, "I'm sorry, I don't know why I was there," while he's trying to,
Oh yeah.
you know,
That's what I
like
was thinking.
take away like the sweat off the brow, but it's actually the glowing liquid that keeps growing, excreting from his forehead.
I imagine I drop this concentration.
Nah, you just keep it on. Teach me a lesson.
Why are you gonna learn this lesson, old man? Stop sweating, old man. Okay, now the concentration is dropped. The liquid dissipates as if they quickly dries and then just is as if it was never there.
But the regret still lingers because that's not tied to the spell.
Crust.
Literally every episode is just like, what can we do to Mortis today? He fell down a cliff, through a trap door. He got like slashed by a little demon man creature. He did step in piss. He also got knocked out by little gremlins. Your boy is just going through a bad time.
It's funny because I'm like Methuselah's like ability gave him regret. I feel like he was feeling regrets ever since he stepped in here.
It just flourished. That's all. It was already there. It just flourished.
Sunless Citadel. F's in the chat for the paladin.
Well, are we all right to keep going?
Just a brief moment. We took some scratches during the battle. Let me see if I can do something about that. He's gonna kind of walk over to Seeker. Would you mind if I attempted to heal your wounds, my friend?
I would appreciate that very much, but I'm not that hurt. Are you sure that you're okay?
Oh, it's quite all right. I feel the blessings of She, and I believe that I can use my power to heal any minor wounds. It will be an honor.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and thank you to She as well. I would very much appreciate your goddess's blessing.
All right. Let's see what we can do. He's gonna kind of hold out his hand towards Seeker. Goddess of the Ashes, bless this one with greater life, for their journey has not ended yet.
As the palm of your hand glows with a warm and bright white light, it touches the wounds of the bites, and when you take away the hand after the glow diminishes, you see as if the bites that were there once is now nothing more than ashes flying, leaving an untouched and unspoiled skin in the back.
How was that? Are you feeling all right?
Oh, Mortis, I feel incredible. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm not an incredible healer, but I do my best.
Well, I appreciate all that you do for the team, and when we find Faith, she's quite the healer herself, so it won't all have to fall onto you.
Well, that will be nice. It's been a long time since I met another healer, ever since... And he just kind of trails off.
Ever since your wife, right?
Yes. Well, no use dwelling on the past now. Let us move on, my friends.
You guys finally open the door towards the next room. It is a relatively big room. It clearly leads towards another hallway, but it has doors that indicates that there is other passages, which this room is a medium to. But most importantly is the few things that catches your eyes. One is that this place has a considerable amount of damage, as if it was trashed in some way or another. And there is these weird green-like paint that it forms very crude words on the wall. Whoever reads Draconic might be able to read this.
I can read it.
Getting closer with the light of the torch that Thorn is currently holding, you can read the sentence in a very, very crude and grammatically incorrect Draconic. Where be the Durgan lizards?
Huh?
There be what?
You read it again, and it says, "Where be the Durgan lizards?"
Is there like a question mark at the end of the sentence, or is it just a statement?
There is a comma after Durgans. Additionally to that, you guys can also see that there is a giant fire pit in the middle of this room. It goes down from the surface no more than a foot, so it's easily the kind of pit that you could put a fire on it and then put a kind of like a pit roast of sorts. And you can see that there is holes where what the metal pieces would be. One of the metal pieces is still placed on this hole. And then on the very opposite side of where the the very crude made draconic painted message is, there is this cage, this metal cage that is large enough to maybe put a bovine inside, a full-sized cow inside, but it's completely destroyed in the sense that the door of the hinges is torn aside and there is indications of things pulling the bars outwards, so that it's completely unusable as a confinement area. And that's the moment that I say that Methuselah hears something as they are near the cage area. Aside from the cage, there is a small wooden bench. And from that area, Methuselah hears very small sounds, almost like whimpering sounds.
Can I approach very slowly and cautiously?
You guys see Methuselah starting to approach the area cautiously and concerned a little. Do you guys follow Methuselah?
Seeker's gonna follow Methuselah.
Thorn probably scampers over and is like hiding behind Methuselah's legs as he goes forward.
Mortis is probably gonna stay where, like, behind everyone else, just sort of scoping out the room for himself, making sure that they're not taken by surprise.
You do so. And as Methuselah approaches with the rest of the team, you guys look under the bench. And underneath it, there is clutter and a small creature of sorts. This creature has scaly-like skin, and it's no bigger than Thorn. It is clearly crying, slowly and quietly.
Honestly, I feel like Methuselah looked at, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I probably looked at the bad grammar and was like thinking that this is like a crude dialect and was like, huh, maybe it's a kobold. And I like hear the crying and I'm like, that could be a kobold.
Well, you clearly see a kobold in fetal position, crying quietly underneath this small wooden bench.
What color is this kobold?
He has a darker brown color to his scales and hide.
Methuselah's gonna look at the kobold and be like, oh, hello there, friend. Are you alright?
It's still crying and whimpering quietly.
Can Thorn go over and be like, hi, friend? And can he like gently tap the kobold's shoulder?
You do so, and when you tap the kobold's shoulder, he is almost as if he then notices that someone else is in here. He slowly turns his head. You can see his very big eyes that are still watering with his tears, and he does one of those "Yeep" sounds as he notices that there's people not kobolds in the same room as him. He jolts up, hits his head onto the branch, and then he scurries himself as much as he can to the very opposite side of the space underneath the bench that is away from you guys. And he goes, no, please, no, please, no me, Paul, no.
Oh, it's all right. We're not going to hurt you.
Hi, friend.
And noticing that there is a goblin talking to him, he freaks out. He tries to run away from underneath the bench to whatever space there is closest to him that is away from the group.
Seeker's gonna follow the kobold.
Well, he just scurries outside of the space underneath the bench to inside of the fire pit. And he just quickly hides in there as if it was some sort of a trench. And then he peeks his head up. No! Goblin! Ah! Get away!
At this point, Mortis is gonna kind of trudge over to where he is slowly. He's try doing his best not to seem aggressive at all. He's just gonna kind of lean his head down and be like, "Hello there, little one. We mean you no harm, I assure you. The goblin is not one of the raiders or bandits that you would find down here. He is a friend."
I need you to do a persuasion check with disadvantage because this creature is clearly afraid.
So I'm gonna use my bardic inspiration. Let's see if something's gonna go well for me today. That is a 13.
The kobold quickly puts his head down as if he was protecting himself, although you guys clearly can see him still there against the wall of the 1 foot deep fire pit. And then he screams, "No, don't kill me! Meeple no friend of goblin! You goblin friend! You kill us!"
I assure you, we mean you no harm. He's gonna kind of pause and be like, I am Mortis. What do they call you, friend?
No! No! Meeple do not talk to friends of goblins!
It's nice to meet you, Meepo.
No, goblin friends know my name!
And then he's gonna kind of glance towards Methuselah and be like, he doesn't say anything, but his eyes are kind of just like, help me, bestie.
Methuselah's gonna approach and then say in Draconic, Are you alone here, Meepo?
Meeple will not tell goblin friends that colony lives here!
You're a fucking dumbass, Meepo. Don't worry, don't say that.
We'll die.
Just kind of looking at him, I can make a check if you want me to, but does he look injured at all, or?
No, you don't even need a check. He doesn't seem injured in any way, shape, or form. He is just scared
Boy's just traumatized.
Were you separated from your colony?
No! Meeple is safe! Colony is safe! You don't know that!
Oh no, I don't know that. I don't know where your colony is or anything. I just wanted to make sure that you're alright.
Why does goblin friend care? Goblins took dragon!
Well, this goblin isn't with the bad goblins. This goblin is very good and friendly.
He peeks his head past the fire pit to look at Thorn, as if weighing the options and to see if it truly is a threat or not.
Can Thorn pull some butterfly wings out of his hair and kind of shuffle very slowly with his hand outstretched as if offering them to Meepo as a peace offering?
I need you to do for me it's gonna be just a persuasion, because the peace offering helps. Usually would have been a disadvantage, but
I got a 13.
he is very hesitant. It's almost as if he wants to kind of approach, but he's just so afraid.
Can Thorn slowly place the butterfly wings on the ground, and then with a smile he pulls out a pan flute that he had in his bag, and he'll start playing a few notes on it?
Do a performance check.
I got a 10. It's not the worst.
As you start playing the pan flute, let's just say that it's not the most professional of works and a little bit erratic, and that clearly makes Meepo bring his head again back down as if he was scared. But you do see his tail kind of waving back and forth a little bit, as if it was in a sign of maybe he's not too scared anymore.
Watching this unfold, Seeker's gonna kind of crouch. You know how you do when you're talking to kids, and they're gonna go, "Hey there, Meepo. You can trust us, all right? We're here to just find some people, and we're not here to hurt you, and we're not here to hurt your colony neither, all right? And not knowing if kobolds like gold or not, they're gonna take a gold piece and like kind of hold it out and then place it on the ground for Meepo as another peace offering.
Meepo peeks out his head once again just to look at you while you're talking to him. When you place the offering on the ground, you do see his hand coming out slowly, grabbing the thing and then dragging it close to him until he's safely behind him. And then you see his eyes considering what you're saying. Do a persuasion check.
17.
You come to find people? Can you find Jurgen or Dragon?
Seeker's eyes are gonna kind of dart towards Methuselah very briefly. Yeah, I think we could probably help to find your dragon. What does your dragon look like?
When Seeker looks at Methuselah, Methuselah heard about a dragon. It's like, just big-eyed, like, ugh.
It's the glass dragon! Calcretes! She's pretty, she's white, and she is gone. And she kind of like whimpers down a little bit.
Well, would you like to come with us, Meepo, to try and find your dragon?
No! I'm actually too scared.
Seeing that Seeker's peace offering of gold was more effective, Thorn will take out like a gold piece and like also like drop it near the fire pit as an offering, and he'll go, "Why are you afraid? No need to be fearful when you're with friends."
He kind of like looks at you scared, as if you talking to him is equivalent of you ready to attack him. But he still instinctively grabs the coin and brings it close to him. Goblins come, goblins hurt, goblins take.
How long ago did goblins come? He takes out another gold piece and offers it. It's like
It's like you're bribing a guy in a casino. Any idea where he went?
Goblin comes before me born. Goblins were here by... He looks down at its fingers, as if it was trying to count. When my granddad was here.
So it was a long time ago that this dragon was taken.
It was yesterday.
Mortis kind of leans into like whoever's closest to him. It doesn't really matter. And he's just like, I believe this Meepo is a bit disturbed.
I suppose so.
So Seeker's gonna try and continue talking to Meepo. Well, you see, your colony isn't the only group to have lost someone to someone important to the goblins down here. Someone very close to me was taken as well, so I understand the pain that you're going through right now, Meepo, and I apologize, and I will do what I can to help your colony.
Goblins took your dragon too.
Something like that.
And Seeker's gonna look around at Thorn and Mortis specifically. Well, not my dragon, but my sister.
Goblins took my cousin too.
Jesus.
Well, I'm sorry about that too. We'll try to find your cousin as well, but you know, you gotta stay strong in times like this.
It's okay. Dad took care of that one. Killed that one, goblin.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, I have a little question for you, and I'm willing to give you another little piece of gold. But you see how I look, right?
It nods its head slowly.
Have you seen another individual that looks similar to me, but the face looks like my paws, and they're gonna hold up their gray paw.
His face contorts as it's trying to remember. Like, it looks at you up and down, looks you sideways, and goes, no.
Can I insight that?
Could I also insight that?
Yep, the both of you can.
DC is like -5.
18.
And a dirty 20.
You both are quite sure that Meeple does not have any clue. If they have even seen anybody like Seeker.
That's quite all right. And Seeker's gonna reach and grab another gold piece, like I promised you, and they're gonna hand it to Meepo.
Okay. And grabs it. You guys still kill me now?
No, we're not going to kill you. You're free to go.
Thank you. He kind of like puts his head lower so he looks like he's hiding, but he doesn't move.
Well, I suppose we should probably let this kobold go.
Perhaps he might have some insight into where we could find the goblins.
I don't want to traumatize the little fella. He's been, I think, as helpful as he can be. He doesn't really know much.
Fair enough. I suppose you might be right. Poor thing seems like he's gone through a lot.
Use-Trial knows. Use-Trial knows.
Who is that?
That's our leader. The colony's leader.
Oh, I see. Are they far from here? Not that we really care to know, but...
Maybe?
Morris is gonna kind of just stay close and just be like, if you tell us where we can find your colony, we can ensure that they are safe. I promise.
Meepo's head starts to slowly peek out of the fire pit, where before his eyes that were large and droopy with tears now is almost closed to slits as he looks suspiciously at you. Will you fight our dragon?
Ursula is looking at the group, like, very uncomfortably right now.
Thorn kind of like comes up from behind Mortis's ankle and goes, "Yes! We will find your dragon, and we will bring her right back here to you."
Ursula is shaking their head.
Mortis has a face, a look at his face like, that wasn't what I meant to imply, Thorn. But then he's like, well, I'm not sure we could promise anything, but as my companion here said, we are simply looking for some people who got lost down here. But my goddess demands that if I witness one who is facing injustice, that I do what I can to help. If you would like our assistance, then I can offer it. If you would like us to move on, then we shall.
Yustra will know better. And then he kind of like hesitantly erects himself. So he's only about 2 feet. He then climbs himself out, and he is at his full height of 2 feet and 9 inches. I'll bring you to Yustral, and she will tell you if you can help.
May I have a word with everyone except for you, Meepo, in maybe private?
I'll get my things. And then he walks like He walks in a circle around you guys, but in a good like space around you guys, exactly to underneath the bench where there was the clutter.
See, I was kidnapped by a dragon in its service for I don't know how long. I really don't want to repeat that. So I'm really not sure if getting ourselves in the grip of a dragon of the Draconic Empire would be a good idea.
I understand your concerns, Methuselah. However, as you've seen from this place, it's merely ruins. There are no dragons here. The dragon they speak of is likely dead.
They said it was taken yesterday.
Yes, but this Meepo seems a bit confused.
Are we really willing to risk that?
As I said to Meepo, it is my duty to help those in need, even if it means having to deal with a dragon. Trust me, I can keep you safe.
Thorn also thinks that maybe we could just license and the kobold will tell us where the goblins is, and then we can go get the cats, but not actually get the dragons.
Do we really want to deceive the poor thing? I feel like he's been through enough.
Yes, and I do not want to incur the ire of kobolds who are very likely serving a dragon, especially if said dragon gets out and maybe hears of our sort of betrayal. They're definitely not very kind with betrayals, as I have seen from what happened to Alagathor.
Out of curiosity, just because it seems like an important time to ask, do the rest of us know what a kobold is? Because I know Methuselah does because dragon lore, but like are they common? Do we?
They are common creatures to this region and to neighboring regions of Destry, for sure. So I'm pretty sure that Thorn would have seen even before his trip to the Feywild, or at the least heard of. Seeker for sure, because of the neighboring areas. It's not uncommon for kobolds who are originally from Destry to actually migrate to Sentry Soul, being the very nearest province per se to Destry and the south as well. You might have heard stories based on the, like your experiences with traveling and security, but roll for me a nature check to see if you actually have ever encountered one.
Natural 20.
You have not only encountered some, you have had experience where some were unreasonable. They were pretty much monstrous in the point that they just appeared and attacked, so you had defended yourself against kobolds. You have had experiences with kobold traps, which means that you know how very tricky these guys can be, and you have also encountered cases where kobolds surprised you by being quite friendly. So it's you, with a role that big, that well, you know for a fact that they are not just monsters, but depending on the circumstances, they will act just as easily and be very dangerous when they have to, especially in numbers.
Yes, I must admit, I did have some experience with kobolds during my time as a hired sword back in Lestry. They can be devious creatures, but like all living beings, there are many who are kind, and they are misunderstood. Think of it this way. If we valued a creature based purely on what we know of their culture, then Thorn here would be seen as nothing but a barbaric monster. It's important that we give things a chance. I understand the risks. However, I believe that it would be remiss of us to not see if we can assist. Perhaps they could even assist us.
Well, it's not the kobolds themselves that I am sort of doubting. It's any influence of a dragon. That's sort of where my stipulations lie.
It's easy to hear Meepo approaching with all the clutter that he has on his back. As you guys can clearly see that he is full of garbage on a makeshift backpack that you guys think you can even see the tail of a skunk coming out of one of the holes, and the clutter just jiggles and clinks against each other. And he approaches you guys and go, "We going then? We probably should go and find our dragon soon. We need to make sure to feed her."
He has like a little hobo pouch.
Basically.
And I try to. We learned the name of the dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the name?
Calceres?
Can I do a history roll to see if I've heard the name, as I was like kind of in the Dark Warden's court, so I would have heard the happenings of what was going on there?
Roll a history check for me with advantage.
Oh, yeah. Natural 20,
Wow.
baby.
We're blessing these knowledge checks.
Just say I love you're like, yeah, what you like you're gonna hear it instantly coming.
It's for special
Natural
effects.
20. It's an airplane now.
Natural.
You've seen cats' car noises. Now get ready for plane noises.
You have had intimate proximity as to the ongoings of the court while a subject and plaything of the Dark Warden. And you were even able to memorize all the important names of the dragons, not only significant to the ins and outs of the court of the Dark Warden, but even the ones that went beyond his court as well. I'm talking about the lord deities of the Draconic Empire and the nearby areas of Destry, the mountains of Destry, with each of their lord deity dragons in the area. You know for a fact there's no such dragon with this name, Calceres.
What do I do with that knowledge? I don't even know. So Seeker's going to be trying to make a little bit of conversation with Meepo just to try and get some more information about this dragon. Meepo, so could you tell us a little bit more about your dragon, Calceres?
A clan's dragon!
Well, yeah, your clan's dragon. Could you tell us a little bit more?
Well, she's white. She's big now. After I started feeding her good rats, she grew up a lot. She was almost my size when she was hatched. And yeah, she was a very different color when she was hatched. She was, I could see myself with the scales of her when she was born. Hatched, broken out of the shell.
Meepo, how old is this dragon?
He spends some time looking up. His head slowly goes down to his hands, and he starts to play with his fingers as if he was trying to count. I think she is about 400 days old.
So she's
No, wait. 360.
So she's a small dragon then.
She's big, fool. Look at her cage. And he points at the cage that is clearly like broken out.
Can Seeker investigate the cage?
Sure. Approach the cage and do an investigation check.
19.
You go to investigate inside of the cage, and it not only shows almost as if it has makeshift straws or grass that clearly they grabbed from the outside of the gaping hole that is the Sunless Citadel, and they put it in here to make almost like a bed of soft straws and grass that they clearly makeshifted and made here. There's also the fact that they have been clearly expanding this cage that is made mostly of like combined metal pieces of maybe blades or pieces of metal and spears and stuff like that they have tied together to make this very makeshift thing. There is signs and footprints of what you think would be a lizard-like creature that in some corners are smaller and then in other corners clearly it's bigger. And yeah, there is small, almost the size of coins, scales of a very reflective material, almost as if it was some sort of like liquid metal surface that you can clearly see yourself on it, and then slowly it becomes more white and white as you look through the straws and grass that makes its bed, until you finally found a scale that is easily the size of your palm, and that scale is completely white.
Seeker's gonna collect a couple of the scales, like from like varying stages, and they're gonna kind of like tuck them into their bag to kind of try and figure out like what would cause that, and also to see like if Methuselah might know anything more without traumatizing their friend.
I feel like all the while this is going on, after Meepo revealed the age of the dragon, Mortis kind of leads into Methuselah. You see, there's nothing major to worry about. It's only a baby dragon. Not like the tyrant you once dealt with.
Yes, so it seems.
Well, from the looks of the cage, it seems like... I wouldn't believe a full-size dragon could fit in there.
Oh no, and from my experiences from the Dark Wardens court, there's no dragon with that sort of name.
Well, perhaps it was left behind after the Empire fell all those centuries ago.
Perhaps. Methuselah looks a little bit confused. Anyways, maybe, I suppose we can go then.
Seeker's gonna ask Meepo one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So, why does your colony keep her in a cage?
We had to take care of her somehow. She runs.
And what exactly is her role in your little community?
Oh, well, he looks down. Yusdrael knows. Come! And he turns around and he starts to head towards the hallway that you guys clearly saw as you entered this room. It is the only passageway without a door that it leads further into these ruins. And as you guys start to follow Meepo further into the depths of Sunless Citadel, you guys hear him screaming some sort of growl, some sort of like raspy language, which Methuselah is the only one to understand, as him saying loud and proud, "Tricklecorn!" as he proceeds further down.
Your average everyday ticklecorn.
It's Ticklecorn.
This is not a word. But he's clearly screaming as he goes down the hallway, and it echoes as he screams so. Tricklecorn!
You've reached the end of this episode of the Sunless Citadel. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to us on whatever app you use to listen to podcasts, and be sure to catch the next installment of the Sunless Citadel every Thursday at 12 p.m. EST. If you like the show, please consider leaving a review. It's a small way to show your support that goes a long way. To connect with us, follow our social media accounts, and if you'd like to support us, you can head over to our Patreon to join the conversation, view sneak peeks of our next project, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Our intro score was created by Patrick Corton from Off the Beaten Path Musical. The Sunless Citadel can be found in Tales from the Yawning Portal by Wizards of the Coast. The world of Nosso Mondus was created by Pedro Stockler. Thanks again for listening from all of us at the Storyteller's Tavern.